Hi, Abby here. I have a great workshop prepared just for you today, and I'm particularly passionate about this topic. Why? Because for two reasons. One, I know that you are a lifelong learner. You love to learn, and I value that and appreciate that about you. The second reason is that I have always been a huge fan of the spoken word. So what that means is I was the kind of person who would sit home on a Saturday just to hear my favorite shows on NPR. And I know some of you have had that same experience where you wouldn't want to miss your favorite show. And so today I'm going to teach you how you don't have to just sit there and wait for the show to come on. You can start listening to podcasts today and start enjoying all your favorite radio shows, your favorite interviewers, your favorite talk show hosts, all by listening to a podcast. Now, these podcasts, okay, they're free. They're available on Android and Apple devices. You probably already have the app available to you, and I'm going to show you that. And the other thing, too, is that when you listen to a podcast, you know what happens to your brain? It's activated because it's not like you're watching TV. No, you're having to create imagination and set the scene and think about what the person who's talking looks like. And this helps your brain to function better. And I'm super excited to teach you this today. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. So while I queue this up for you, I'd love to know, and you can put this down below in the chat. You can put this in the notes. Let me know, okay? I would love to know. Are you listening to any podcast? Are you? What type of podcast do you like to listen to? And how do you find new podcasts? Maybe people tell you about them, right? And if there's anything specific you'd like to learn today, I want you to go ahead and put it down in the notes, and I'll be sure to look back and take a look. Now, if this is your first time joining me, my name is Abby Ritchie. I'm the founder of Senior Savvy. I'm a course creator. I consider myself daughter of many because all my wonderful clients, they're like my universal parents. I love them. And I've got two teenagers, and I'm doing a lot of driving lately. So today we're going to be talking about podcasts. What is that thing? I'm sure you've heard it over, and someone probably has told you should listen to this podcast, why you'd want to listen to them, how to listen to them, and my particular personal recommendations. So first, what is the podcast? The podcast is a digital audio or video file. All right. It's been pre-recorded. Some of them are live. And usually they're part of a theme series. It could be about crime. It could be about the news. It could be about history. I know you all love your history, right? And the word is two parts. The first is pod, which means playable on demand. That's right, pod, playable on demand. You don't have to wait around for it to come on Saturday morning to listen to it. And then the other part means cast, which is broadcast, podcast. There you go. You learned something new today. So that is a podcast. The first part of it here is that it's on demand. You listen whenever you want to. You can tune in. It's so portable because all you need here is your phone, or you can listen to it on your computer, or you can even put them on your Apple Watch. That's right. And you can listen anytime. For me, I like to listen to a podcast sometimes when I'm driving in the car. That's right. Or when I'm at the doctor's office and I'm in physical therapy and I've got something on my back and I got to sit there for a half hour, I just put on a podcast. It's all about learning time for me. And there's such a diverse range of topics. So whether or not, if you like the news, there's going to be some excellent podcasts about the news. If you like to listen to history, you can listen to that. If you're a crime junkie, you want to listen to crime stories, they've got you covered. They're very interactive and engaging as well. And in fact, a lot of the podcast hosts will ask you to rate them, to give them a star, to let them know that you liked it. And they're pretty diligent about reading all of those notes. And the really nice thing about the podcast is that many of them are considered long form content. What that means is, when you watch the news, you get these little short news bites about a topic that you might want to know more about. Well, you can hear more about that in a podcast. That's right. As some of them are, 10 minutes long, some of them are 20 minutes long. There's really no cap to the amount of time. And if there is someone that you used to listen to when you lived in Germany, or someone from San Francisco, we had two NPR stations in San Francisco. And if I just wanted to still listen to them while I live here in Arizona, I could do just that. So why listen to them? Well, to be informed and updated. There's a lot to be said about remaining relevant when you're speaking with your colleagues, your children, even your grandchildren, just staying on top of what's happening. You will learn something new every single time. And there's a high entertainment level. It's not just about news. There's also comedy shows, and there's also performances that you can listen to. So podcasts, again, they provide timely and relevant information. You don't have to wait around for that show to be broadcast because it's a podcast on demand. And you want to be informed. And one of the ways you can do that is by listening. So you don't have to be sitting in front of your TV. You can be listening, walking around. You can go out on a walk. You can take the dog out. You can be folding laundry. You can be putting dishes away and be learning. There are many insights into different subjects. There are times I want to listen to something more scientific. There are times I want to listen to something more techy, right? There are times I want to listen to a sermon. And so you can choose what it is you want to listen to. But mostly when I'm in the car, I want to be learning something new. I got to tell you that I am a listen and learn, listen, learn, listen, learn. That's just my pattern. So I like to always learn something new. And there's such a diverse range of entertainment topics, stories. I love to listen to storytelling. It's truly a matter of escaping. You put your earbuds in, you put your headphone on, and you just learn something new. It is a wonderful place to be. It's almost like a mini book. So mostly people are also listening for entertainment. And now I'm going to talk to you about how to listen, the practicality of it. Okay. So if you have an iPhone, there is something called Apple Podcasts. It came pre-installed on your device. If you tell me you can't find it, I'm going to tell you to go to your app library. And to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your phone. You probably have it in your pocket right now. You're going to slide it over to the very last screen, and there's your app library. And then up top, you're going to type in P. That's all you have to do, because this is all alphabetical. If you put in the word P, the first thing that'll come up will be podcast. That's right. It's on there. You just aren't seeing it. If you need help with that, go ahead and reach out to me. Apple Podcasts can be listened to in your car, from your phone, on your computer. It's available. It's pre-bundled. If you are an Android user, you most likely have Google Podcasts already installed on your device. That's right. It came bundled. And so you're going to look it up under P for podcasts, and you'll be able to check it out right there. There are other podcast apps. In fact, before Apple Podcasts, I was listening to a podcast app called Stitcher. Holy smokes, I clocked so many hours on that just because I love to listen. So there are many different podcast apps. A lot of them are just interchangeable. If you're a Spotify user, you're going to find podcasts on Spotify, no doubt. So go with what you know. If you're an Apple user, use Apple Podcasts. If you love Spotify, stick with Spotify. It will be there for you. So with that said, let's move into some recommendations, shall we? So what I want you to do is I want you to go with where your interests are. If you like to listen to stories, if you like to listen to crime stories, you're in luck, because there's a whole category under stories. If you're a history buff, and I know so many of you are, there are a lot of podcasts on history, stuff you missed in history class, including the tides of history. So look into it, see what your interests are, and go from there. If you love comedies, there's a lot of podcasts have been recorded just for you to listen to. Comedy shows, there are sitcoms. There's also some of your favorite comedians most likely have a podcast, and they're recording things regularly and talking about them. There are a lot of crime stories. In fact, there are productions that people are doing, creating a whole season following one crime story and trying to solve it. And people just love this. In fact, if you have watched the show Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin and Martin Short, that is a podcast, right? So some other stories. There are crime stories with full episodes and series. There's also business stories. I am a huge fan of How I Built This, which is moderated by Guy Raz, which is like a TED Talk on how someone built a company. Absolutely love that. So there's a lot for you. Don't just think, oh, I don't like crime. No, there's a ton for you. If you're into linguistics, if you're into book reviews, you can listen to a book review. If you're into news, there's so much that you can listen to online. I love the New York Times has a program. It's called Up First, and it just gives you, here's a little picture of it. It's called, there's one that's called Up First. There's also called The Daily, and that is from the New York Times. Just excellent, excellent news, fast, well produced, and just will give you the news as you want it. So you'll probably also hear as you're listening that people will say, like, go ahead and subscribe to my podcast. What that does is it's typically free. Once in a while, if you want to listen without any commercials, and the commercials are part of the sponsors, and the sponsors pay for the podcast. So, but if you want to subscribe, how you do that is what you do is you usually just click a button for subscribe. And then from there, there's the button. And then from there, it starts to save all of those podcasts into a library for you. So you can easily and quickly go to your favorites. You can also make playlists if you want to. You can download them, which is something that I do every now and then, especially when I'm in a place where I know I'm not going to have any Wi-Fi, like at my doctor's office, there's no Wi-Fi and have to wait there sometimes for an hour. And I just don't want to be frustrated while I'm sitting there. So I do download things so that I know that they're there for me to listen to. And then you also want to be thinking about your method and the mode of listening. It's really going to vary a lot from person to person. There are times where I want a wired connection. I want to plug it into my phone. When I'm sleeping, for instance, I like to be able to plug it in. So, and I'll put on these soft earbuds and listen to a podcast that way. And I prefer to do that wired over wireless, something like this, because I don't want my battery to drain and then I get woken up with low battery, low battery, low battery, right? So, and then there are times like I go out on a walk, I want to hear it in a wireless method in my AirPods. There are many, many different makes and models out there. You don't have to shell out tons of money in order to do that. And I love the JLab Go Air Pop Pros. These are amazing. They have been such a good pair because they have 32 hours of charge time. That's right. If you're worried, you know, that you're going to lose one, this is an excellent option. Sony makes one that has something you put around your neck. If you want to drop one out, you want to make sure you can hear the ambient noise, and you want to be able to take them off and on quite easily without losing them. This is an excellent option for you. There are ones that you can put around as a headband. A lot of skiers use these just so that they don't fall out. And they're also, you know, can serve as an eye mask for nighttime. And if you don't want to put anything in your ears, of course, there's a new option out, and that is called bone conduction. It's not that new, actually. They've been using these for people who are hard of hearing because it rests on your cheekbones and picks up the sound and the vibration right there. Awesome. I've seen a lot of people in doctors' offices wearing these. These are people who are working there who want to be able to maybe listen to some music while also hearing the ambient noise. These are perfect if you want to go out for a walk, for instance. Well, shoo, we went through so much today. I hope you learned more about podcasts. You feel comfortable with the topic at this point. You can always reach out to me on good old Facebook. You can also find me on YouTube. And here's my phone number and my email address. Reach out to me anytime. I'm here to help you. As always, it has been an honor and a privilege to serve you. I would love to know more topics you would like to know more about. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.